Hey guys, my name's Troy Hoffman. I'm the founder of Simplurus and the founder of Balancegenics and an executive mentor. What we do every week here is we're creating these things called Fireside Chats. We basically transform this entire space into a studio every week.
4, 3.
In the house today we've got Walt Tomolina. Today in the studio we have Ty Cannon. He's also one of the top anti-aging doctors in the country and probably even in the world. And what I want you to see is the opportunity to be exposed to all these different entrepreneurs, all these different people that can share their wisdom and insights, because one idea can change your life today.
They want to be part of the outcome, but they don't necessarily want to be part of the process because it's scary. And if they hear you say collision and they're afraid of conflict, I got to go to the restroom. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Yes, they've done that.
I realized there's over 27 different hormones and hormone metabolites that exert a tremendous effect on your body, your mind, your performance, and whether you live or die.
You can actually like apply something to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because somewhere along the line, there's usually a very pivotal point in your life where you've made a decision. You've changed something, you were really hit, and you see things differently. It's that pivotal position, and then you create a message, a really powerful message around it. And so many of us write books with that message. Writing also is very healing opportunity. You're releasing ideas, you're releasing stories.
And you're purging.
Exactly. Ideas are only as good as their implementation.
One new concept, one new thing you can take back to your workplace, one new thing you can take back to your company, one new thing you can take back to your family to change the way you think and see and change everything about what you're doing and the actions you're going to take. All right, folks, welcome back to the Fireside Chats. We have Ruth Klein today sharing with us, and it's a huge honor, and I'm glad you're here and you're able to finally make it with us, which is cool. And thank you for Deborah for connecting with us. And I actually have a pile of books here, which is amazing. So in the day of everybody's an author, in the day of everybody's a speaker, very few people actually have truly published books that aren't self-published anymore, where they actually have a publisher that are willing to put up money and spend the time and spend the money investing in an author because of their content so important. And we actually have a pile of books here from Ruth that publishers actually invested. They prepay. They actually help her put the books together and get them mass marketed. And it's a rarity nowadays to see this level of focus. She's got a master's in clinical psychology. She's got a master's in spiritual psychology. She's a brand strategist. She's a soul-centered brand strategist. And when I asked her, what do you really want to share? She said this. She's like, I want to help people get whatever the message is inside of them, out of them before they leave this earth. And I put leave this earth as my version of this, and she had a different way of phrasing it. But I feel like that's one of the tenets of what we talk about here, that people do have a purpose, that we do have a destiny of some sort that we live out, and that our voice matters, and that our living matters, and why we're here on this earth, no matter how old we are, or how young, or whatever age we're at, or wherever we live in this world, that we can have an impact on the people around us, and that we're here for a purpose. We have a reason for living on this earth, and that if we don't live it out and we don't share our message, and we don't share and mentor the people around us with what we know, if we don't give what is inside of us, if we don't give the knowledge, the action, and things we've learned to make our lives better, we're not going to impact the world around us. So, Ruth, thank you for being here. And I'm going to flip through some of these books, and you can just give us a quick rundown or a 5 seconds of
Well, so this is in a foreign language. This is in Mandarin.
This is in Mandarin, okay. And I will not be reading this book. And I think it's for women too. So
it is. It's time management secrets
in
for
Mandarin.
Women
So
in
this is
Mandarin.
definitely not written for me.
But this one is. This is in
But it's
English.
amazing that you have one in Mandarin. How awesome is that? That's a big deal.
There's also in Russian, but I've sold all those.
This is the English version.
This is the English version, yeah. And that book has actually been selling. We're going to have a birthday party, 25 years. So it's a millennial. So
Wow.
next year it'll be 25 years that it's been selling.
Wow, that's
and
so
it
awesome.
first came out 25 years ago, and the name of it was Where Did the Time Go? And then the updated version, which is the same book but updated, is Time Management Secrets for Working Women.
That's so awesome. And the next one we've got here is The Distressed Diva's Guide to Life. Maybe I need to read this one.
The De-Stressed Diva's
Not that I'm a
Guide
diva,
to
but I feel like a
Life.
diva sometimes.
And so what happened, I ended up getting this branded De-Stressed Diva. I do a lot of television, and I was in Phoenix, and the producer said afterwards, wow, Ruth, you're just like the De-Stressed Diva. And I thought, ooh, I like
I'm
that.
stealing that one.
Yeah,
Yes, that's awesome. I love that.
Exactly. So that's how that came about.
77 ways to recharge, refocus, and organize your life. That's awesome.
And this is more important today than ever.
The Everything Guide to Being a Sales Rep. Now, when did you write this book?
When that book came out, I think in 2006.
That's awesome.
And I was asked to write that book by Adams, the publisher. And at the end of the day, what is sales? It's a relationship as far as I'm concerned. And even a 3-year-old is in sales, because anytime someone wants someone to do something,
Yes.
it's really marketing, it's really
Yes.
sales.
And then
that's the time management book in Portuguese.
In Portuguese. Wow. It's amazing. Like the last few authors we've had on here in the last few shows, one person had their book translated in 17 different languages and literally sold hundreds of thousands of copies. And it's like just really blessed with amazing things. And then this is in the kitchen.
Now, this is a De-Stressed Diva in the kitchen. Now,
Self-published.
this was self-published. And the reason for that is because I didn't have what's referred to as a platform. A platform in the publishing world, quite honestly, whether you're going for a traditional publisher or whether you're going to self-publish, you still need to create a platform. There's two sides of a platform. There's celebrity and there's credibility. And so the more that you have that built up, you have a better chance of getting a traditional publisher. If you don't have both of those really strongly in place, it makes more sense to self-publish. So because I didn't have a TV show on cooking, and yet everyone loved my cooking, and I would work full-time, I'd come home, make 30-minute dishes, and it didn't even amaze me until someone, I think, a maintenance man said, Ruth, how do you do that so quickly? Because to me, it was nothing, just absolutely nothing. On the way home from work, I'd stop by a supermarket. It was already marinated. I'd buy some chicken. I'd figure out what vegetable. I'd get salad. Done.
That's awesome. So how did you start this whole journey? Like becoming, what were you doing? How did you become a person of impact at this level? We have all these books. You're speaking all over the place. You're doing all these shows. You're like someone who impacts people's lives on a regular basis, and get to do this as a full-time thing and be able to work with people. And then if you could tell us like how you even got in this world, the 30-second version almost, and what you've done with it. Like it'd be kind of cool. Like, and this is your camera. You can talk to this. This is your camera, or if you want a wide shot, we go to this camera right here. So
I am grateful that I live my purpose. I know that I live my purpose. That is my career, and I'm so fortunate to be able to do that. I remember I was in graduate school, and I wanted to be a counselor.
Would this at UCLA?
In graduate school, actually, I was at Cal State Bakersfield University
Okay.
at that time. I went to UCLA undergraduate.
Got it.
Because UCLA was behavioral psychology,
we were
and
talking
I
about
didn't
the
want to be
behavioral.
behavioral
You don't want to be
psychology.
behaviorist. No.
I wanted clinical
You want
psychology.
clinical
I didn't want to
psych-
work with rats.
No.
I wanted to work with people and
Yes.
what motivates them and what makes them tick and what makes them
Yes.
do what they do. And so as I was getting my master's in clinical psychology, I went to the college there, and I thought, I want to be a counselor. But all the counseling positions were taken. And so someone said, well, Ruth, go talk to the professor in psychology. And I thought, man, I don't want to teach.
Yeah.
I really don't want to do that, but I needed a job, newly married. So I went and spoke to the psychology department and main dude, and we hit it off. I knew he was going to ask me to teach a class. Well, he ended up asking me to teach 3 classes. From there, it was evening classes, and I remember.
So you were in your master's program, but you were teaching
program.
undergrad.
I was also teaching
That's awesome.
psychology. And I was teaching evenings, like 7 to 10 p.m. I even taught when I was 8 months pregnant. And the students, they would kind of look like this, like, you must be in pain. But I felt great, absolutely great. And then what happened was the first year I was teaching, there were two gentlemen in the class, and I gave them the final. And then one dropped off the final and said, Mrs. Klein, one day you're going to make a really good prof. Because I had no self-confidence in terms of teaching. I was going to be in front of people. I have a high voice to begin with. I've always looked younger than what I am. I put my hair in a bun. I never would have put my hair in a bun. I think I may have even worn glasses, so I would look older, and my voice was much lower, and I was very specific as to how I spoke, and it was humorous. And the other gentleman, there were only two that got A's. The other person that got an A was someone who worked for a Fortune 500 company. And so he, unbeknownst to me, he spoke to his boss and introduced me, and I was hired on the spot. And I started doing classes and training in psychology, personal development.
So you're like really young doing this, and you're like in your mid-20s then.
Early 20s.
Early 20s then. So you got lucky.
Very lucky.
You're really lucky to be able to get a full-time gig
Completely.
in personal development. There are hundreds and hundreds of millions of people probably that would love to have fell into that role.
Yes.
I mean, you hit the lottery.
I hit the lottery. And the irony is, I didn't want to teach, and that's all I do. I'm an educator. I teach. That's what I love to do. I love to learn. I love to share. I love to learn. I love to share. And so that's what it is. Even in the coaching, I'm teaching.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
I'm learning, I'm teaching, I'm sharing. You know that. And then one thing led to another, and then I started working for Fortune 500 companies, and I started doing business development, personal development, communications was a very, very big area, which is
I don't think it
I
ends.
love.
Like in our company, the thing is we've got the most benefit out of all the stuff we've done here and all the books we do, like daily readings and everything. We did Crucial Conversations twice now in the last basically 18 months probably in total, or something like that, 20 months I think. And the most impactful book. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves sharing about it. We did skits about it. We'll do and everyone gets a lot of their personal relationships get impacted massively.
Absolutely.
So awesome.
It's so awesome because we're communicating all the time.
All the time. There's all these problems from it.
Yes.
And drama.
And drama.
And pain.
And it's unnecessary.
Yes.
It's truly unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of opening up the doors and the ideas and the mind and the possibilities to new ways of speaking, new ways of communicating. And I think the most important thing with that, Troy, is that this is about me, and anything that you may do, I'm triggered by that. It has nothing to do with you.
It's my favorite subject in the world right now.
Completely, right? Because that's the meat of the
I'm
coconut.
just mirroring back to you.
That's the meat of the coconut. So
Correct.
if you say something or that triggers something in me. So the response is, if you have someone, I could say this to you, but I can't say it to many people. Troy, you know, what if you got upset with me? What is it about what I said that's triggering you right now?
That's the whole Byron Katie stuff. That's all the stuff we teach. That's like, I mean, even Crucial Conversations, Teal Swan. I mean, all these things are about triggers and mirroring and what is it showing up in us? Why is it showing up? Where is this coming from? Where's the root of this? How do you release these triggers? And we've done all different types of therapies. We share about different therapies on here. We talk about the BEST technique, bioenergetic synchronization technique, which came from NET, and then so you get the fight or flight systems released from having that thought. Although Byron Katie's asking the questions, where's the turn? How do you change the energy, the form of the energy of these thoughts and these? Like why would this something like you not calling me back in 10 minutes trigger me? Or why would you saying that in a meeting trigger me? And I have to look at myself going, okay, where's this showing up in my life and why?
And this is what's so beautiful about writing books and your messaging. Because somewhere along the line, there's usually a very pivotal point in your life where you've made a decision. You've changed something. You were really hit, and you see things differently. And it's that pivotal position, and then you create a message, a really powerful message around it. And so many of us write books with that message. And writing also is very healing. It's a very healing opportunity. You're
releasing
releasing
energy, you're telling the
ideas.
story,
You're
the
releasing
concept,
stories.
and you're purging.
Exactly. You know, there's a concept. There's actually a phrase that I used to say for years and years and years, and I used to put it on my stationery. Ideas are only as good as their implementation. And I still believe that. There's so many brilliant people. There's so many people that have great ideas, and then that's where they sit. That's where they sit. And yes, because my gosh, if you can imagine all the innovation, the creativity, making this a better world, a healthier world, comes from creativity, comes from being open to possibility, comes from this generation, why not, who doesn't quit, who, you know, gets hit down and understands that there's no such term as failure. It's just feedback. I mean, it truly is just feedback. And so if I'm going this way and I get hit, oops, that's not the direction I need to go. I don't have to put myself down. I don't need to put you down. No. I just need to reorient and look through a different lens.
Course correct.
Completely.
Course correct.
Completely. But you've got to have the mindset to be able to do that. And so, you know, the book that I'm writing right now, I interviewed
Generational
Why Not. I interviewed the real Jerry Maguire, Lee Steinberg, and just a fascinating, awesome man.
He's right up here.
Oh, he's fabulous, just fabulous. And the stories of so many of the people that I've interviewed, and the most amazing thing is that the internal part is similar. They go through the same internal pieces, and that's what this book's about. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Right. So what are, out of curiosity, since you brought it up, you opened the cat in the box, or whatever you call it.
Okay,
I want to know what's in the damn box. Share.
There are many things, but one is they may go down, but they come back up.
Yeah.
They don't say no. They say yes more than they say no. Mm-hmm. Because the moment you say no, you've closed down to possibilities. Mm-hmm. And if you stay open to yes, you're at least open to possibility. But the moment you said, no, that's not for me, no, shut down. And that goes in every part of your life, because how you show up in one part of your life, I find, is how you show up in most parts of your life. They also are very positive. They learn the words. Mm-hmm. They know how incredibly important a positive mindset is. Incredibly important. Also, they have done so much business, personal development work. They didn't start out that way, but because of pivotal situations, they started to go in that direction.
Like Lee's case, right? We know David Meltzer, who works for
David's another one I introduced.
So we get to spend a lot of time with him. We've had some really great
awesome
opportunities.
As well too. Yeah.
I got to go to breakfast with him and his wife one time and just sit with them by themselves and be like, okay,
wonderful.
How do you hold a relationship together in an entrepreneurial world? Or, you know, hanging out with him, like we were just in New York together with like Scott Duffy and this like mastermind thing. But you have his stories of like Lee. But what did Lee Steinberg do for personal development out of curiosity that made him? I mean, he's well known, very famous now, and has done a lot in his life.
He's done a lot in his life, and you know, there's nothing specific that is any different than getting pushed down, and then come to the point where this isn't working for me anymore. I want to make changes, and that's how each of these people that we interviewed. They
Did Lee say
do
anything
something
specific,
about
like you went to this course or
you
read
know,
these books? Or...
It's in the book. It's going to be in the book. I hate to
He's
share.
not sharing, okay?
I hate to
I'm just
share
saying.
anything like
We're going to work on cracking her yet. Okay? It's okay. I get it. You're not going to give in. You're not going to break. I get it. We have to buy the book. So when the book comes out,
you get it at the library. You don't have to buy it. You can buy an ebook, whatever. You don't have to buy it.
It'll come out.
It's just that. I just want to keep that sacred and honored right now.
Generational Why Not? It's coming out when?
Generational Why Not. I'm hoping it comes out in the winter of 2019.
Next year. So I had to wait all the way till next year.
Isn't that...
You love torturing me, don't you? I'm just feeling this torture thing going on.
But you could always.
I feel triggered right now. Why do I feel triggered is a question. We have to do the stack on this. Where's the turn? Currently, I feel. No, just joking. Okay. We're gonna do trigger release therapy right now. So
I love it.
So you're going to take this book and you got it planned out. I mean, that's a while. Like a lot of people are usually people are ripping out books every 90 days. So you're more of a methodical, you're launching deep content. And when you launch a book, are you selling it? Are you hitting the road? What do you do? Do you have a show? Like, how do you
share exactly.
go for it?
So I'm going to go on a 24-city book tour without a book. And
No book.
No book.
Just a tour.
Absolutely.
But you're going to do a book tour with no book.
That's correct.
Okay, I just want to be clear on that.
Yep.
Okay.
And what that looks like is I'm setting up speaking engagements and pre-ordering the book. And anyone that pre-orders it gets a bonus, a 12-week course, so they don't have to wait, so they can start to get the.
And then we can find out what Lee did.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I want the bonus.
In the book, not in the
She's
course.
closing
but in
us.
the book.
You see this,
Not
guys?
the
She's
course.
closing us
Not-
right
not-
now.
not the
We're all going to be
bonus.
going online to whatever links she posts after this and be like, well, I want to know what Lee did.
So but they're very awesome, and I'll be on media because for me, this Generation Why Not book is a conversation. It's about opening people's minds to being open to possibility.
Yeah.
It's about opening people's mind to if someone's 33 and they think they're too young or too old, why not start the new business? Why not?
Why not start at 67?
Why not? Exactly.
Who cares?
I interviewed an 84-year-old man who just wrote his 4th book and is so excited to do the marketing on it. He's had several heart attacks. He has no clue when he's going to die, nor do any of us. And he is so excited. That's Generation Why Not.
So I was with Harvey McKay.
Uh-huh.
He's got a column in like hundreds and hundreds of newspapers all over the country. Old school motivational speaker. Built a huge envelope company up in northern, I think, Chicago area or something. He lives in Scottsdale now. At his house, first, he never met me before. But by the time I walked in that door, he knew everything about me, where I grew up. I mean, he literally lives his, if you get to read his books are awesome. He talks about getting to know every fact about the person you're about to meet in advance as much as possible. And he really lived it. And I mean, I was like a nobody to nothing to this guy. And this is like 4 or 5 years ago. Go spend Thanksgiving with him. I hit it off with him. We ended up spending a couple hours just on Thanksgiving Day.
Wow.
Like him and I just disappeared into first his little workout area. And then we hung out in his office. And I was like, I'm going to do a Facebook post or something. I was like, what do you want me to tell people about you? And he's like, oh, easy. I'm not even close to done yet, Troy. Make sure you tell everybody I'm not even close. And this guy's like, I think he was 80-something years old a few years ago, 85 or something. I'm not even sure, 84, 86, somewhere around there, a few years ago. And he was excited about this online course he was building. He was excited about how his some magazine he was going to try to put out next. I mean, he was on fire. I mean, you just feel the energy. Like, he's like, we're going to make this happen. I'm going to impact these lives. I have all these article ideas. I'm going to do all this cool stuff. And it was amazing to see like how on fire he was versus I grew up in Florida. I was a lifeguard in Florida. And you meet a lot of people on the beach that ain't got plans beyond maybe I might go to the beach tomorrow or the pool the next day. And it was just a totally different energy shift. And that's kind of why I love being in California. The people you meet out here are not the people like I grew up with that didn't, I might go surfing next week. And that was you know what I mean? It's like.
And that's just it.
Cool.
Harvey McKay, that's Generation Why Not?
Yeah.
And they have, this generation just has so many ideas, and it doesn't matter what the age is. They're not driven by age, they're driven by attitude. They're driven by something so much deeper, motivation, and it is. It's all energy.
Why do some let it out and others don't?
Why?
I mean, why do some people like you let all this stuff out and they're like, I'm going to do this and be alive and like impact lives, and other people just say, man, I'm going to sit on my fat ass and not do shit and literally just watch TV the rest of my life till I die.
There are a lot of motivations behind that, but I'm going to answer that a little bit differently, and that is there are so many people that want to do things, but they don't think they can. 100%. They think they're too old. They don't think they're smart enough, or the enoughs. I don't think this would go over.
I'm not smart enough.
I'm not good enough. Who do I think I am? I don't have permission myself to do that. I'm not that smart. Those are the limiting beliefs
that we self-impose.
Like
all of us self-impose.
That we self-impose. But again, it's not to be tough on ourselves, because we created so many of these limiting beliefs when we were 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8
We've been conditioned
with the cognitive abilities of a 3-year-old, of a 6-year-old, of an 8-year-old.
Correct.
And now we're 38 or we're 78.
with those same
and we still
processes,
have
same stories.
This because
running.
we had made those decisions, those beliefs, because of what we heard by usually well-intentioned adults, but we didn't know it because children are very literal. I remember one time my daughter Naomi, I think she was 5, and she spilled something. I said, Naomi, look what you've done. And she goes, she literally looked at what she had done. And so they're very literal. They don't know. So if they hear, that's stupid, if someone says, we have a tendency to personalize that. And then
Massively the child.
Massively. And then as we get older, someone says something and it feeds into and reinforces that limiting belief.
That limiting
It's a selective perception.
piling the stories, reinforcing
That's right.
the stories.
It's like when you buy a car or you want to get a car. And, where I live, there's Teslas all over the place. And you see Teslas everywhere. But it's a selective processing. Or this happens a lot. It happened when I was pregnant. Now it's happening a lot with women that I know that I work with that are pregnant. Everyone's pregnant. They'll go out and go, Ruth, everyone's out there pregnant. Well, they're not. But it's selective perception. Correct. And so that's what guides us.
So now, from your experience, from all that you've been in personal development, you've been working with all these people over decades. How do you break this? What are the things, if you could share with people right now, how they make the shift? How do they make the pivot? They feel they can do something inside. They know they have something to give inside them. They know inherently, all of us do, I feel like. What is that message? If you could give that message to them right now in this camera, what would that be?
So, there's so many pieces. So that's a hard question to answer, but first of all,
whatever showed up in your heart.
Put your phone away. Put your phone away, because the phone is interfering with you connecting with yourself. Because there's something about the phone that we keep going for that's very habitual, addictive. It's external gratification versus getting internal gratification. And so one of the best things you can start with is first thing in the morning, guard your mornings, guard your time. Don't listen to the news. Don't look at your phone. Don't look at Instagram. Connect with yourself. If you have children, make it as harmonious and as loving as you can first thing in the morning. If you have to get up 15 minutes earlier, then do it while the house is quiet. Find a little area and just sit there. Just sit there. And different people meditate. Meditation is a lot of things to a lot of people. But what I'm going to suggest right now is that you just sit and write whatever's coming to you. Do not limit yourself. Do not put yourself down. Do not think that you're complaining or you're in drama. You just sit there. And what I do, my morning ritual is I light a candle and I have a pad of paper and I just write. I just empty it all out. And then right there it tells me, whoa, I was nervous about that, but that process between the brain and the heart and the hand gets it all out, and it puts you in a position of calm, and before you know it, you will start connecting with this and with your spirit, and your heart and your spirit will never, ever lead you astray. The external piece will lead you astray. The internal piece, because the internal piece is that spirit piece, and that spirit piece, and many times you can even do this wonderful exercise. Ask your older, wiser self a question. And you can either sit and do a gestalt, what I call a gestalt. So I'm sitting in this chair, and there's an empty chair there, and I ask my older, wiser self, which I do, something that I'm concerned about or anxious about. I sit here and I ask, but then here's the trick. I then get up and I sit there It will not come to me. She will not address me as well if I sit here waiting. I energetically need to stand up, sit in that chair, have the energy of the older, wiser self. It's incredible. This may sound wooey, but it's amazing how it works. And then
it's breaking through these patterns. It's changing yourself.
And energetically.
Yes.
And then she starts to talk to me. And then if I have another question or I don't understand it completely, energetically, it's so important that you come back and you, as yourself, and you ask her or him another question. It is remarkable how you will connect, and you will find your message. You will find your North Star for you. You will find answers that have been causing you anxiety, that have been causing you stress, that have been telling you you can't do something. You will get all of that information for you in a way that you can connect internally. It's not an external game, people. It's an internal game. And once you can feel that internal peace, there's a certain feeling of alignment and calm and direction and clarity. And here's the thing about clarity. We've got an issue, we hit a wall, and then we do some of these exercises, we get clarity, it moves away, we move forward until the next one, and that's okay. And we do the same thing, but now we know how to feed ourselves. We know how to find the fish. And we do the same thing, and I promise you, it moves away, and then you have more clarity. That's life. It goes from here to here, from here to here,
100%.
from here to here.
100%. So if you're watching this today, go back when this show's over, rewind all of this. Take your journal and write out exactly what she was just talking about. And if you don't understand some of these things, and they're like, I don't know, try to understand it enough to try to just try it. See what comes out of you, because writing does clarify thought. It just does. And we're trying to find these different ways to transform our lives and clear ourselves and see what shows up for ourselves and these beliefs. And we're not to judge these beliefs. We're just supposed to just get stuff out. And see, when we write it out, there's no reaction, no judgment, and no attachment to what we were writing. We're just going to look at it and say, okay, this is what came out of me. It's okay. And that's going to open up another level, another place for you to go. And that's what I love about this. And please rewind this. Please listen to what she's saying and try this. And even the energetically of switching roles, you're just trying to see yourself in different lights and kind of look at your stories and who you are and what you're thinking in different ways. And you can easily do this. We're very intelligent beings. All of us were given these amazing gifts by God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, to look at life from different angles. I mean, we can even coach ourselves because we all intuitively and almost inherently almost know the answers for most of our own problems. We just need to find a way to shift ourselves to get to take action and move ourselves to the next direction. So thank you for sharing. It's truly an honor having you on the show.
Thank you,
We're going to put all these different links or something, whatever you want us to give you in comments and in the things on YouTube, and we'll create these little memes and little things with you and little stories. Hopefully we'll tag you on it.
Awesome.
Because we just want to get as much out there and help people impact. And your story is going to touch so many people and impact so many people in different ways than somebody else even. So, folks, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us on Fireside Chats. Thank you, Ruth, for pouring yourself into us. I love you for it so much. You're so on point with the things, and the more we can change the world and help people learn to process their triggers and how to change and move themselves forward, so many more lives will be impacted. So thank you, folks, for watching, and we'll see you next week on Fireside Chats.